it, everybody? I'm Kamasame Kong from KIKI Radio in beautiful and sunny Honolulu, Hawaii. Weather person tells us it's going to be another beautiful day in paradise. Blue skies, white puffy clouds, and maybe a brief shower or two. Hope you got some time to stick around because I have got some great music for you today by Toshiki Kadomatsu. We're going to get started with a song that's all about a little summertime romance. So sit back, crank up the volume, and get in your favorite cruise position. Imagine some warm waves and a light tropical breeze with the music of Toshiki Kadomatsu. Boy, I do like the way that song moves. And what a sensational arrangement here on KIKI. The tune is called Offshore, dedicated to all you folks at the beach. You know, there's something special about falling in love in summer. Once again, here's Toshiki Kadomatsu with a song all about it. Summer Emotion.
Mike's hot.
Hey
Cameras
everybody! I promise we're professionals.
We're
We do this. We do this every day. Thank you for the mini Necron tier, and welcome everybody to the Monday Morning Super Show. Oh, we should do live TikTok.
Yeah. Go ahead and do your thing. Hold on.
It's the Monday morning, now it's the Wednesday Morning Super Show. See what's happening to me? This is what's happening to me. I'm going crazy.
What day is it?
It's Wednesday. So it's the Wednesday Super Show. We're going to have a good time today. We got some really interesting stuff. Pete and I noticed this morning that we have completely missed the boat on like 3 things. We're like, oh yeah, that was happening this week.
Yeah. Yes.
Crap.
Oops.
Going live on Kick? No, we're not doing Kick. Right now we are right now we are doing Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. We're probably going to be adding Facebook at some point. But first we're going to do some of our our previous canned videos and evergreen topics over there on the Facebooks.
Yes.
On the Facebooks.
FB.
So we will get those going here shortly. But thank you for joining us for the Wednesday show. We've got some fun topics today. And as always, whether you are on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch, if you have anything that you've seen in the news, in the stuff that you would like to talk about, drop it in the chat. Producer Pete will grab it. He'll throw it in our chat topics, and we'll hit that at the end of the show. By the way, just like a little PSA on chat topics. We love you all. We do reserve the right to nix chat topics. Sometimes, like yesterday, there was a couple that brought up that we pushed to today because they required a little more thought and research for us to really talk about them. Sometimes we're going to do it because they're not appropriate or not kind of what we're aiming for here.
Yeah.
We're going to stay away from certain topic areas.
Yeah.
But go ahead and test us. Throw it in the chat. Let us know what you want to see, and we will do our absolute best to answer your questions.
What's up, Dog Dad?
Today, it's draft day. It's Wednesday, so it's getting drafty in here. So we'll have
Let's see.
Lord of the Rings draft tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll be drafting LOTR tonight. It'll be a little more expensive than a normal $15 draft like we normally do. For our stuff, I think it'll probably be $20 for this particular draft. Like that is one of the topics there in the chat that I'm not going to do on this show. For the days that I do Identico After Dark, you are welcome to join me for those. I will do those on there occasionally.
Other channel.
That's the other channel. Yeah, no, not going to touch that one.
I want to fire from the hip, but I'm not going to.
No, let's just not do that one. Again, this is a gaming space, and so we're trying to keep it to film, TV, entertainment, and gaming. Real quick thing, the Warhammer 40K app dropped this morning. Phil and I have kind of poked around in it a little bit. We'll probably do a full review of that and our thoughts on the new Warhammer 40K app and the new Army Builder on Monday. Mm-hmm. So tune in Monday for that one.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. First impressions is visually it's beautiful. Like whoever designed the UI from a visual perspective It looks really good.
Good.
It's very visually appealing. It's very intuitive, right? I've only found a bug so far, and I'm sure they'll be consistently updating and trying to fix these things. So take that for what it's worth. Like I said, we will look at that on Monday. This Saturday is the 10th edition official launch. We should have our Leviathan boxes on Saturday.
Should.
And we'll be starting a new Warhammer 40K League here very, very soon. So it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
So thanks for everybody who...
Thank you.
Yeah, who came out for this last league. Kill Team League is ongoing. We got a bunch of stuff coming. Anyway, first topic today, Smosh.
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 So, you want to...
No, go. This is you.
So, do you guys remember Smosh?
I do remember Smosh.
Yeah.
Smosh is going from the, not quite the dark ages of the internet, but it's older YouTube times.
For those of you, I had to look up how old Smosh is. One of the first, like, really high quality YouTube channels. Do you want to take a guess when Smosh started?
I'm going to guess 2006.
You got it. That's it.
17 years ago.
Back when the subscribe button was yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Smosh is Ian and Anthony.
So explain how Smosh started, like what their shtick was when they first started on YouTube.
Comedy sketches. Nobody... I don't want to say nobody was doing comedy sketches,
But not to their level.
but not well filmed and not well put together. This was back in, I think YouTube was max 480p, maybe even 360 back then, but it wasn't HD. But yeah, Ian and Anthony, they're really young. I had to look it up. Ian, whatever his last name is, he's my age. He's 35, so let's do the math there.
17 years ago, he would have been 18.
Yep. So they were kids. They were kids filming like high quality comedy sketches, and they were friends. And kind of like, as it goes, you kind of start to butt heads when you're just 7 days a week creative grind. And I think this was before YouTube had monetization.
And they also did a bunch of stuff, because I remember Smosh Gaming, and they did a lot of different stuff as they kind of continued going along.
As things happen, you start to branch out, but you also have to bring people in. And it can become really stressful, but eventually they had a falling out, and they sold their company to whoever, I don't remember.
This was also during that era. When they're selling this stuff, there was an era in the YouTube times, and I want to say it was the 9 to 11 era, and a bunch of people, like a bunch of big media companies, were buying YouTube channels.
Oh,
And that's kind of the era that they did that in, because like I know Discovery Networks bought Philip DeFranco's channels, and because he had his channel, and then he started what's it called? God, what was it called?
I don't remember.
Nerd something.
It seems like yesterday, but it's been
a long time.
Honest. Oh, College Humor. Yeah, so Smosh was kind of the
precursor.
The precursor for College Humor. If you haven't seen old Smosh, it's very similar to College Humor. Yeah, so they ended up selling it because that's a lot of stress for kids.
Oh
They
yeah.
Eventually get tired. They sold it. It didn't go over super well with whoever had it. Now I found out that Rhett and Link of Good Mythical Warning, their mythical corporation or whatever it's called, they bought it in
a while ago.
2018.
Okay, it's 5 years ago.
Yep, they bought it, which is great. Those guys are geniuses. They're content machines. They're just brilliant businessmen when it comes to content. They bought it for
SourceFed. That was the one. Thank you,
there you
chap.
go.
That was what Phil Franco had, was SourceFed.
They bought it for $10 million from not Anthony and Ian.
But the guys who had bought it from
The
them.
guys who bought it from them in 2018. And they announced, I believe it was yesterday, that they have sold the majority of it back to Ian and Anthony for an undisclosed amount. We don't know yet, but Ian and Anthony are now the majority owners
of Smosh again.
And Rhett and Link, their company they're hanging on as minority stakeholders and advising.
Yeah.
Because, they've got a handle on this, and they really know content. So yeah, Ian and Anthony will be largely in control, with Rhett and Link helping to steer that ship. Great idea. This is really kind of a landmark thing as far as like
coming back.
Yeah, YouTube's grown, and this deal kind of cements it in like, hey, these deals are happening, and YouTube's a significant platform.
Yes.
But I would say it's more popular than TV, cable TV at this point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
So,
YouTube generates more revenue
Yeah.
for Google than most cable companies see.
So Anthony had a pretty cool career outside of Smosh. He has a podcast, like an interview show that's well shot. Had some really serious interviews with some celebrities and content creators. A lot of some breaking news like stories came out of his interviews with them. He's very good at interviewing. Because I remember seeing the first time and I was like, this is the Smosh guy?
If they walked away so long ago, why are they coming back now? My guess is, and based on some of the stuff that I saw, when you create something, when it's something that you created, right? Coming back to get it back, I can see why they would want to do that. I absolutely could. If you've got the money and the resource, and now especially you said he's your age, the maturity to go, we had this really cool thing when we were kids, and we didn't really know what we were doing, and we sold it, and we just to get out from underneath it, things like that. I could see being like, now that I know 15, 16, 17 years later, what I know now about content creation and about running a company and about doing all this stuff, now I know what to do.
Yeah, you get your business legs under you. Also, I'm going to put it out there. When you're 18 and you're doing that grind day after day after day, and especially in America, we're not educated on mental health and what burnout is.
No.
So by the time you hit 25 and you've been doing that at breakneck pace for 7 years, you're suddenly having anxiety attacks and stuff like that. I'm not saying that did happen. I didn't see the details of that, but I can imagine.
A lot of creators come out later and talk about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know it's happened to H3. He's been very open about it. That it's caused him some issues.
Philip DeFranco's been really open about his.
Yeah. Which thank you guys. Please keep being honest about that. I think we need to be. More
he's been super out there about his mental health stuff and like weight gain and like how that's affected his. Yeah. He gets him into that spiral.
Yeah. And that may be me projecting, like talking about that, but like just him being my age, I didn't discover until like 32, 33, like what was going on up here, and a lot of like puzzle pieces fitting together. I'm like, oh, okay, and now I'm back here doing this now, where I'm just like, okay, I understand and I know how to deal with these things.
Absolutely.
So and maybe he got bored not doing it. Maybe. So
Maybe.
We'll see. But I mean, if you have an opportunity to work on your old channel, doing this content, working with two of the best in the business, Rhett and Link. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Why wouldn't you?
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. Congratulations to the guys from Smosh for getting it back. I'm looking forward to seeing what they end up doing with it.
Yes.
We can always use more comedy and laughs in the world.
Yes.
We need humor. So go over with that.
Yeah.
All right. Remember, between segments here, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want us to talk about on the show, throw it down into the chats on YouTube or TikTok or things, and producer Pete will grab it.
I promise I will. And
we will talk about it later in the show. All right. Speaking of the things that Pete and I completely zoned out on, which was freaking topic number 2 today is the Nintendo Direct that's been happening all morning.
Yes.
They've got some big announcements today. Now, it is not the announcement, and again, we've talked about this on the show a bunch. We keep waiting, and the Switch is starting to see its age with Tears of the Kingdom. It's time to come out with a new console, Nintendo. But that being said, they are squeezing every ounce of their install base to put out some new stuff. The one that I know Pete is the most excited for is where we will start today. They're completely remaking the Super Mario RPG.
Legend of the Seven Stars, baby, let's go! I cannot express just how excited I am about this. I've been waiting for
decades.
And I have a story about it that I'll tell in a little bit, how obsessed I was with this game as a kid. But yeah, it was the first perfect game I think I ever played.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you for the bits. It looks beautiful.
It does.
And here's the thing, it looks really good. It's a great little like graphical remake, but it's still got that isometric style of mapping. It's got the turn-based. You can still see like the little battle lines and stuff.
And I'll give you a quick the download about it. So you're like, well, what's the difference between this and regular Mario games? So Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars was a game that came out on the Super Nintendo. We actually have it on the SNES Classic back there. It was the first time, I believe, that Nintendo and Squaresoft at the time teamed up, boom, to make a game. It was the first turn-based Mario RPG, and it is the basis for all of the Paper Mario games going forward. If you like Paper Mario, you can thank Super Mario RPG for that battle system, and it has gone on to make more and more things, and over the years I've been like, why don't they just remake the old game, because it was so good. And here we are 28 years later, and there it is. Yeah, it's so good.
So what's your story? Why were you so obsessed with this game?
I mean, I grew up in the middle of a cornfield, so I had like 4 games.
Okay.
But I was lucky enough to have this game. I did something, I don't remember what it was, but my mom walked into my room while I was playing it, and she was like, "You're grounded." And I was in the middle of a boss fight, and it's turn-based, so there's no time limit. And I was like, "Oh, but I'm in the middle of the game." She's like, "Well, turn it off." So I just turned the TV off.
I've done that trick.
So I just left the console on for a week. I was like, I'll just finish this, because there's save points like in RPGs. Yeah. And so I was like, after a week, I was like, oh yeah, and turned the TV back on. It was still in that fight, but the game system had overheated and frozen.
I was like, you left the console on for a week. Please tell me if that worked.
That was my first little IT brain tricky as a kid, and I was like, I got to circumvent this. This is too important to me. Boop.
So yeah, other stuff that came out of the Nintendo Direct. They do have for those of you that love traditional Mario, there is a 2D side-scroller coming, Super Mario Wonder World. And then there's a new type of flower, and I saw pipes that were like running like snakes, and like,
what?
It looks bonkers. It looks like Gonzo Mario, and I'm kind of here for it. Peach is playable, Toad is playable. I saw Yoshi in there. It's really...
I saw Mario turned into an elephant.
Yes, Mario does turn into an elephant. Yes. I think at one point Mario turns into a giant rolling ball, a la like Indiana Jones, so you crash it through stuff. It looks really, really solid. So the next thing, there were some announcements that Splatoon 3 is coming. They've got a new Pikmin coming out. The one that I actually got, somebody in the chat saying, I'm so glad we're actually getting an honest-to-God new 2D Mario game. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much. It looks like they've really refreshed the formula. I saw Koopa Troopas on roller skates in the preview, and I loved it. I was like, look at the little Koopa Troopers roller skating down the side scroll. It's so great.
That's adorable.
It's great. So yes, an honest-to-God new second Mario game. Another 2D. And so the other thing, and I told Pete, I was like, this might make me buy myself a Switch. Because my wife has one, my daughter they have their own Switches, and they play a lot of Stardew, and my daughter plays a lot of, what was she playing? A lot of, what's it called? Animal Crossing. Right, things like that.
That'll do it.
But I haven't had any games for the Switch that I'm like, this is a must-play for me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, and I can't play it on another platform, effectively.
Well, also, remember what's getting ported over that you were really excited about before we hit live?
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, is Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
So the Metal Gear Solid Remastered Collection is coming to the Nintendo Switch with Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which I would argue are the 3 best of all of the Metal Gear Solid games.
I'm gonna have to buy another Switch for myself.
So it just, and they look really, really good. And it's funny to think that I was like, these all came out, so the Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2, I believe, were on PlayStation 1, the first PlayStation. I know Metal Gear Solid 1 was on the first PlayStation. Mm-hmm. 3, I think, was on the PlayStation 2. And now we can pack that into a Switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Snake! Okay, this is, I am here for it. It is my favorite series. And then they're also throwing in Metal Gear, the Nintendo version of Metal Gear 2 Snake's Revenge, Metal Gear, oh my God, it's going to be, you get all of it. And so I am super excited for that port.
Metal Gear Solid 1 was the first game that I ever beat.
Really?
I'm surprised myself.
Really?
That's it.
The first game you ever beat?
Yep. I believe so. I may have beaten
didn't even beat Super Mario RPG?
No, man. This is a long history with me and RPGs. Like, even at like 8, life happens. I just get worn out. I may have beaten Donkey Kong Country 2, which is another great one that everybody should play.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't beat Super Mario. I'm still questing to try to beat Super Mario RPG.
You know, we have it right back over there.
I know it, but it's
so much
close
time.
Yet so far.
Isn't Snake just another operator operating operationally? Kind of. But he was doing it before operators operating operationally was cool. Okay. Snake is he's a classic character.
I wonder if the Psycho Mantis fight, you'll have to like use the single Joy-Con.
I wonder. Yeah, I'm kind of curious how they're going to do that too. Remember, because we were talking about them because they were doing the remastered edition for the PS5.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that on the show where it's like, how do you do the Psycho Mantis fight?
6-axis only.
Something.
That's all I can think of.
You know, yes, we are all giant nerds. They're also, speaking of ports for the Nintendo, the entire Arkham series is coming to the Switch. So, yeah.
Nice.
Everything from Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight will be porting over to the Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
Later this year.
That's a good series. I really enjoyed those.
Yes, we're getting Batman on the Switch.
Batman.
It does. I mean, I guess it's a good idea. This is actually the area where I get kind of wonky with Nintendo. Because your first-party games, like your 2D platformers and your Tears of the Kingdoms and everything else, are so good, right? Like, Metal Gear Solid is such an old series that a remaster makes sense.
Yes.
And putting it on the Switch. That makes sense to me. Arkham's not that old.
No.
Right?
Maybe 10 years.
Right. And so, and I don't think Arkham Knight's even 10 years old. The last one in the series, I think that one's only like 4 or 5.
That one, I believe, it has to be at least 5 years old.
Okay. Yeah, I am really, really curious. Like, it's like when they do COD remakes on the Switch and this one on the Switch. I'm like, I guess for people that didn't get a chance to play it on the PlayStation or PC.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of things that you can't capture, like the old COD games on the Wii and throwing the grenade with the Wiimote. Like, I don't know how to express to you just how much fun that was and how revolutionary that was for the time. It would kind of fall a little flat these days, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's some things, but hey.
I'm going to jump back through my thingy. Phone's ringing because of course it is.
Pikmin 4 will have a dog in it, which is great.
Yes.
Splatoon DLC is exciting.
The other one that you and I were looking at right beforehand, they're bringing the Vampire Survivors game. And you said you've had some experience with this game.
Yeah.
They're bringing that to Switch. So talk to everybody about that one.
Vampire Survivors is a super easy game. If you ever have wanted a game where you're just like, I got 15 minutes, I want to sit down and play something, Vampire Survivors. It's $3 on Steam, and I'm glad that they're bringing it to other platforms. You have a character and they auto shoot and you go around WASD or whatever. The movement is all you really have to do. Make sure you pick things up. It auto shoots enemies, but you upgrade your character over time. And it's a horde fighter, essentially. But you get upgrades, and some of them are cool, some of them are not cool, but really fun. I could see it being great on mobile as well. It's one of those games that a friend was like, you need to buy this. And I saw it was $3. I said, why not? And it's one of those games that if you don't get it for free, $3 is well worth it. It's very, very great price. So
yes,
I'm glad to have it on literally every platform now. That was the last platform, I believe.
Yeah. Pikmin 4, the demo will be out on your Switch, available for your Switch on June 28th. So they got the new Pikmin coming.
Oh no.
They're also doing a remake of Star Ocean on the Switch.
That's not. I'm just not that type of fan.
Wave 5 of the Mario Kart 8 Booster Pass is coming with 8 more courses and 3 new characters.
What?
Yep. Or 3 more returning characters. Petey Piranha, Wiggler, and Kamek.
Wait, so can you play as Wiggler driving the Wiggler car?
I think so.
Oh,
I think so, yeah. And the new 2D side-scroller Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That will be out October 20th. The funny thing about this particular one is most of the stuff they're announcing is coming fast.
Yeah, they tend to do a couple announcements that are like, you can do it now.
Yeah.
Which is great. Love it.
They got some new rhythm stuff. They're doing another Just Dance. Nintendo's staying on top of it.
Yeah, they're doing great. I mean, they've sold, what, third highest selling console of all time. So
120 some odd million Switches.
why wouldn't you just keep going?
I'm curious, have you seen how much better the Switch OLED is than the regular Switch? Is it that much better?
No, I haven't. I looked it up a while ago, but I don't think that hardware-wise it's different.
It's just a different screen.
I think so.
That's it.
Yeah, from what my understanding is, they gotta do something soon. I would not be surprised to see an announcement at the February Direct to announce a new Switch or something.
Well,
like
you
that.
and I were talking because you said because the last Direct was in February.
Mm-hmm.
So are they doing these just every 4 months? Because that was only 4 months ago.
Maybe so. I mean, they've got so much stuff coming out that they might just have to start doing them that frequently. And, you know, if they decided a long time ago that they're not doing E3, they might...
Well, there is no E3 this year. Nobody's doing E3 this
even
year.
back then, they were just like, nah. Maybe they're just like, yeah, we'll just trickle them out. Everybody I know is always really hyped for the Nintendo Direct. Now, there were a couple of years where it was like, yeah.
And then you and I forgot it was happening.
Yeah. With everything going on.
We're very good at this, we promise. Oh, thank you for the bits.
Thanks for the bit.
Everything they put out today looks solid.
Yes.
Like I said, they may have finally got me to buy a Switch.
That's a good...
They may have.
It's a great
I
deal.
love me some Metal Gear Solid. Boop, 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 boop,
I mean, you can still play it on your PSP, right? But
I don't think I ever bought it for my PSP.
or did they only do like the Sons of Liberty or whatever it is?
I think they only did Sons of Liberty on PSP.
Okay. Well, in that case, you better buy a Switch, buddy.
I misplaced my PSP because I got to go back and find it because I got to buy a new battery for it. So I was taking apart my PSP and the battery, you could see, was all like distended, and I was like, oh, that's time to buy a new replacement battery. But there was a funky thing with the models on it, and then by the time I figured that out, I had misplaced my PSP somewhere in the house.
Somewhere.
Somewhere. We're going to talk about those on our underrated consoles episode.
Yes.
Pete and I have. We're going to go through and talk about some underrated consoles sometime.
Thoughts?
Not today. All right. So let us know what you think. We thought Nintendo Direct was really solid.
Really great. Good job, guys. Thank you also for putting out these games.
Thank you for Super Mario RPG.
Bless you. Bless you. Yes.
Yes. All right. Go ahead and drop any of your things. Actually, Allfather, we'll grab that. We'll use that as a chat topic toward the end of the show. Absolutely.
Well, I'll add that to the chat topics.
Yes, we will definitely talk about that at the end of the show. Again, if you have any other chat topics, drop them in the chat, and we will talk about them after our final segments today. Okay, so one of the ones actually that came up as a chat topic yesterday that we were like, great topic, but we want to actually do this as a real topic. And that is... people were talking in the chat yesterday about gaming being fragmented because we were talking about PricewaterhouseCoopers analysis of the gaming industry and where esports is as part of that. And somebody said, you know, it's the fragmentation of gaming is causing challenges in esports. So that's what we're going to talk about right here. Here's the thing. It's not that gaming is fragmented, right? That's not what's causing the problem in esports. If I have learned one thing over the last 18 months about the esports industry, right, is that it falls into one of two categories. It's either a gimmicky, like, promo thing that's done by gaming companies, right, a la Valve running their stuff and, you know, Dota and the International, and that's all run by Valve, and it's single game, and it's just run by them.
First party.
Yep. Or it's run by 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds. Okay. The problem with the esports industry, and this is actually something we're working on right now. Pete and I have actually had some long conversations about how this should be organized. I've socialized it around with people who've been involved in the industry. The issue right now is a full 60%, 65% of the people in the esports space. What they did was they were like, I love this as a hobby. I can make money off this. So they're making money and they're treating it like a hobby not like a business.
And we have some industry insiders who have also confirmed that as well. No names
Yes.
mentioned, but
Yes. We have talked with a lot of people, and the fact is that as long as the leading personalities in the esports space, as long as they're treating it like a hobby and not like a real business, it's never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, if you're getting, they need business managers.
They need more than business managers. And see, this is the challenge, this is the challenge, is that you can hire business managers, but if the business managers don't understand the underlying appeal of esports and where its potential is, what you end up with is business managers and executives who run these into the ground because they don't understand what the product is.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right. The problem is the guys who understand the product inherently and get what the appeal is and get how to monetize it, get how to do all this stuff. They're 12, right? And they can't figure out how to run it like a business. And the people who know business don't know the underlying purpose of the product.
I got you. So I will disagree about your take on the fragmented comment.
Okay, go ahead.
So if I recall, when esports, when I was younger, really started up, there was some unification on esports was almost purely, at least from what I knew it, first-person shooters, Counter-Strike, stuff like that. And if you were into esports, you were into that. So the funnel, it was like a funnel. Oh, I might be into this. Boom, I know where to go. Bam. Counter-Strike, Global, whatever. Now you get League of Legends, MOBAs, all sorts of different types of games that have, so there's some overlap, but very different audiences.
Yes.
Like you see on Twitch for the longest time, maybe not these days, for the longest time, the top two games were either League of Legends or Counter-Strike. And those player bases don't overlap. They're kind of like, oh, of course League is on top. Or like, oh, of course CS is on top because it's, the international or whatever right now. Or Dota if the international is happening. Like, of course that's on top. You also don't have one organization doing it, kind of like, if you think about sports.
Yes.
When you go to watch baseball, what are you watching? You're either watching the MLB or you're going to a minor league game that's a feeder team for the MLB. Football, same thing, right? Even soccer, which is a worldwide phenomenon, you have FIFA. They kind of, they get all that money, boom, everybody in a funnel.
And there's different categories of the leagues, right?
Yeah.
There's Premier League, and then there's different levels within soccer.
You don't have one unified platform or league for first-person shooters or whatever.
For gaming, period.
But there's different games. So like Overwatch and Counter-Strike, those might not necessarily need to be in the same league, but also it couldn't hurt to just have one governing body for it.
And again, that's kind of the stuff that we're working on is you need somebody who can organize all of this into one umbrella. Because again, if you look at it from the fact of like NHL, MLB, NFL, right? If those are all different games, they can have different leagues and you can have different stuff. But they all kind of run in very similar ways. And this is what esports still doesn't seem to have been able to figure out. Again, we're working on it. We've got the framework of an idea about how it would work.
Yeah.
Definitely know how to make it work, but we just need time and money. So.
Wait, and we've talked about it too, of like, football. Who invented football? Are they getting royalties for that? Overwatch League is first party, right? And if you're going to make a giant governing body of that sport and that league, Blizzard, Activision's gonna want some kickback on that. And then you have, like, for example, Dog Dad. It took me a long time to understand the appeal of watching people play games. I still have trouble getting into it.
And here's the thing, you don't have to get into it. And the closest analogy I can bring to people is I say people watch golf.
They do watch golf.
Have you ever watched golf on television?
I have.
So to me, golf
Yeah.
is one of the most boring pieces of entertainment.
It's fair.
And I use that word in air quotes, entertainment. Golf is so boring, it makes me want to throw myself through a wall.
And I didn't say willingly I watched it.
Yes. Now, some people really enjoy it, and I am not here to yuck anybody's yum, right? I'm really not here to yuck anybody's yum. But it's really the closest analogy. Some people like watching football. Some people like watching baseball. Some people like watching hockey. Some people don't like watching sports at all.
And some people like all of it.
And some people like all of it. And that's really kind of the thing. Do I think the industry moves too fast to keep your sports leagues running? No. And the only reason I'll say no is this. To keep the league running, you've got to have games that have a little bit of staying power. But if you look at Smash Ultimate, that game is not new. And how long did CS go?
It's been a while.
I mean, CSGO was up for how long? How old is CSGO?
2012, I believe. And then they're coming out with another one, but they're transferring everything over because they understand its staying power.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of these games stick for a while, right? And again, if you had a governing league body and the ability to say, look, we can generate revenue, we can be a real business, and we're big boys, that actually gives you the ability to go to the Blizzards, to go to the Microsofts, to go to the Sonys, to go to all these publishers and say, hey, look, you need to give us a heads up on your planning process here, right? We're not going to disclose it to the public, but we need to know what's the cycle, right? I really think that, certain games would have even longer staying power if, as esports leagues, if, again, there was a governing body, a governing group to work with the publishers, right, to know where these things are going to go. And I think the publishers would see a lot more. I also think you would see a lot more stuff because, again, if you start building farm teams, right, invitationals, entry points to these places that are going to funnel your talent in the correct way. And here's the other thing that the leagues have that you esports people need, and I want you to pay attention. Okay, do you know what every NFL team has? They have a PR training team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And their sole job is not to tell the players not to be on social media. No, they want you on social media. They want you doing things. Their job is to train these people in proper media relations, right? Once Gamers Heaven gets big enough, would you open your own league? I want to do it tomorrow. If I can get the investing teams in place, I want to do it tomorrow. Again, we've got the framework for it. I know how it works. I'm just trying to find somebody who I can get to help us with all this.
Well, here's a thought too. With games, right? They're IPs. They're owned by companies. With baseball, you don't see changes made to the game of baseball to sell more bats.
No, but you see changes made to the game of baseball to make it a more enjoyable entertainment experience.
Yes, but it's not to drive. It's to drive more enjoyment of and the pace of the game to adapt to times, not to, okay, hey, you're going to wear out your bat because you're swinging so much more faster or whatever. Do you get what I'm going for? It's like the monetization of it being based on an IP from a company versus
and that's because that's the only IP model. That's the only monetization model they have right now, right?
Okay, yep.
Okay. And again, much like soccer or football, the fact of the matter is once you have, like everybody, once this stuff is organized, you are not limited to a U.S. market like the NFL or MLB is. Right? You have, at that point, a truly global marketplace to tap into, right? To find talent, to build these farm leagues, to build to build these people up and do those things, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have.
George pointed out the new pitching rule, the pitching clock.
Yeah.
I heard about that from Drew, but when you and I were having a beer and I was watching the TV, I was like, I didn't know about the pitching rule at that time. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but they are going so fast.
So the MLB was looking at the number of games that had gone over 3 hours in length, right? In 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2020, the number of games that went over 3 hours in length was over 60% in 2 of those years and over 50% in the other one, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the number of games that have gone over 3 hours this season?
Yeah.
13%.
There you go.
So far.
People start leaving.
Well, I mean,
It's more enjoyable to watch.
It's much more enjoyable to watch because, holy smokes, they would walk back and forth, and the batter leaves the batter's box, and the pitcher does.
Oh, I've played that game before.
Where an at bat takes 7 minutes.
It's a psychological game, but yeah, it's not enjoyable for the viewers.
No.
But what I guess the point of that is, I could see changes to a game being made on like round timers or timers in a certain box or whatever being made, instead of sweeping changes to be like, hey, buy the second version, buy the DLC here to make it more enjoyable. And like it brings back to what you said, like that's their only monetization practice that they have right now. But the MLB gets that brings more eyeballs. Even me, I haven't watched baseball in 20 years. It's kind of brought my eyeballs back to it.
Because it's funner to watch.
It's more fun to watch, and they understand that's money.
Yes. If kids are really young as 12, you're running into huge can of worms with child labor. There's frameworks for that right now. So minor league hockey largely uses kids in high school.
Ooh.
Right? A lot of the kids who play minor league hockey are literally kids. They're just as young as 16.
Ooh.
Right? So here's the thing. There's ways to do it. You do it to follow labor laws.
Yes.
Right? But again, George had talked to somebody who's with the Seattle School District Esports League. If you want this to turn into more of a thing, right? You have to. You're going to have kids involved, and there's ways to do it, and I don't see a fundamental difference between having minors. Again, if you're doing it correctly, right? Having minors playing video games to build for their farm league for esports, then football coaches in Texas, man, I've seen some of those guys in Texas, high school football, where those players are there at 5 a.m. doing their first of 2 practices a day.
Dude, high school football is rough. It's very rough.
Right. Like, I don't know. Any day when we're Gamers Heaven will open. We'll talk about that in just a sec. Hang out for just a second. Let us get to this topic. Again, I don't think it's an argument against it. I'd rather them playing video games than, giving themselves concussions on a football field.
Or being tempted into steroids.
Or be tempted into steroids. Again, there is ways to do this responsibly, and I don't want to use other people. Other people have been irresponsible with this. I'm not going to use that as a reason to not try something.
So what do we think is the solution here, I guess?
Again, a governing body. You need an independent third party. And that's the other thing, too, is, for lack of a better term, the NFL is an independent third party.
Yeah.
Right? They are empowered by the individual teams, which are owned by individual owners, to enforce rules. And all of the owners of the teams agree to abide by, this is the set of policies and procedures that we have. These are the bylaws. Yeah. Right? These are the rules about when a player can be suspended. And even Jerry Jones, if one of Jerry Jones's guys gets suspended for drug use, even though Jerry Jones owns the team, he can't flip the bird legally to the league and say, no, he's playing anyway, even though you suspended him, because Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, as part of the agreement to be part of the NFL, agree to abide by these bylaws.
What would happen if they did field him anyway? Would they get kicked out of the league?
It's possible. If you push it far enough, yeah.
Okay. Huh. Now, so does it have to be a government entity or a private entity?
It's got to be a private entity.
Some rich person with good
Come talk to us. Come talk to us.
Some very wealthy person with good motives that wants to get something off the ground. Yeah.
Look, if y'all are willing to spend $250,000 to take a submarine to go look at the Titanic, you can hook us up. And that's where I'm going to leave that topic today. What's a better use of your money? All right. Here's our third topic today. Any day when and where Gamers Heaven. So there are currently 3 Gamers Heavens open for TikTok chat. There's one here in the Seattle area in Lynnwood. There's one in South Florida in Coral Gables, I think. And then there's the original, Coconut Creek. And then there's the original in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. They wouldn't be able to do the draft. Yeah, they'll get dinged with draft stuff too.
That's one that, like, we have to condense that discussion for like clips worth. But I think we could do an entire show on like esports and.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's such a deep topic, and there's so many solutions and way to do it. But we could go over the disguised toast and his whole thing about like, even though he owns esports teams, he's like, how do they make money? Like, well, there's other avenues, but they just haven't been explored yet.
So to answer kind of before we get into our fourth topic today,
Yeah.
they actually have a very similar rule in Hollywood. And hang on, there's what you're talking about, Dog Dad.
Oh yeah, like trusts.
So hang on, there's actually a specific law. I'm trying to look it up. Hang on. It's a particular type of account. It's called the Coogan Law. So, and basically what you would do for esports is you would establish a similar rule, right, to the Coogan Law, which is a law there, which is saying, so if you are a child actor, by law, a certain percentage of the salary you make has to be put into a separate account. That's a Coogan account that nobody, and not you, not your parents, not anybody, can touch until you turn 18.
Unfortunately, a lot of these laws get enacted because we have to experience a lot of injustice.
I would like to say that because we've seen so much of it in the entertainment industry, that we kind of have a head start.
And let's not wait until it happens in our industry. Let's look at other industries and be like, let's make sure that does not happen here. Because it doesn't have to happen in your industry for you to think about it to get out ahead of it.
No, it doesn't. I mean, again, it's very, very easy to just go, here you go.
Yeah. Hire me. I'll be Johnny Raincloud and think of any corrupt way anybody could do anything.
Right.
I'm great at poking holes and stuff.
For minors, you basically have them set up a Coogan account and go, look, 25% of their winnings or their proceeds or their salary has to go into this account that is not touchable. It's a trust account that nobody can touch until they're 18.
That seems low, but yeah.
I think Coogan's actually only 10%. Well, again, in theory, the kid who's acting should have access to some of their own money to buy a PlayStation with or do stuff with.
True. I guess my thinking on that is like the kid is not accessing it at that point. It's probably mom and dad.
Yeah, but it should be the kid. Anyway. So that was that. Again, if you have any chat topics you want us to hit about, by the way, on the switching things, we're wired in today. And unfortunately with Pete and I, with the way things are wired in, it's really hard for us to switch spots. We need to get rid of that viewer point. We've been meaning to do that.
I think Alex's brain would explode with as much information as back here and trying to keep...
I mean, we did it the one time, and again, you can do it.
How comfortable was that?
It's not. Again, if I'm producing from home, I've got my producer, and everybody needs to know that. So anybody who's ever produced a stream, right? You have your own little picadillos about your setup. Right? How your screens are laid out. So when I'm producing ID After Dark or I'm producing Chaos Inc., which I've done producer duties on both, and I almost always do Chaos Inc., my screens are outlaid at home in a certain fashion so that I can be like, so I know where stuff is. My notes are on here on this screen.
It's your workflow.
I'm in studio mode here, and this is how I do my scene switching, and it's just... And Pete has his own layout, which again, actually, is relatively intuitive, but no, it's not fun.
I have buttons on the stream deck back here that I think most people that come back here be like, what the hell does that mean?
Yes, exactly.
But it makes sense to my brain.
It does make sense in your brain, and that's all that really matters.
Oh, God.
Okay, so for our last planned topic, again, chat topics, drop them in there. Let us know what you want to talk about. Hang on, I'm going to pull this one up.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So the Dice Breaker, which is a channel publication out of England that does a lot of stuff with tabletop RPGs and video games and stuff like that. They published an article a couple of days ago, said role-playing is the perfect medium for stories of sex and romance, so why is this genre so underserved on the tabletop? So let's start with the premise here, that it's underserved. It's not underserved. It's underserved in what everybody wants to call mainstream tabletop, right?
Yeah.
D&D, Paizo, Star Wars, the big ones. No, it's not in there in the big ones, right? And it's because they don't want to.
No.
Okay? They don't want to. So the two problems that I had with this article as reading it is, one, we're presuming that the big ones is the whole industry, right?
That's a problem.
Which is a problem. And then secondly, the issue is, my issue with Dicebreaker on this one was, you're a solution hunting for a problem, or you're a question hunting for a problem.
You think you want that, but you don't.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah. So I responded from our Twitter to the Dicebreaker article, to Dicebreaker's Twitter, with pictures of games that we carry in the store, like Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Advanced Lovers and Lesbians,
Yes.
Pasión de las Pasiones.
This is what I thought. Yeah.
Okay, where you can do those kind of scenarios, right? We have those in the store. Go to Itch.io and look it up. You will find romance and that kind of RPGs all over Itch.io.
Yeah, I've played some games that I'm. Yep.
So, this is the other thing that Dicebreaker I don't think does well in their article, and this was my critique on this. Beyond the basic of, you're calling the mainstream like AAA level freaking stuff,
Yeah.
the industry,
Yeah.
and two, the games out there exist, they're just in the indie space, right? And
Yeah.
you just don't want to pay attention to it because it's the indie space,
Yeah.
right? My third premise is this. Games like that are not what I would call a daily player, right? The reason you don't see more of that in the mainstream thing is it's got a limited market. Like we were talking about yesterday, tabletop RPGs are, first off, a pretty niche hobby in and of itself. Second off, they're kind of expensive to make, right? Because we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
And you are further taking a niche market, tabletop RPGs, and shrinking that market even further,
Yeah.
right?
Very
And so, you know, it's just there. Somebody in the TikTok chat is saying, I'll be in to pick up the game about sword lesbians. It's there. We keep
there.
it is actually a standard stocking item for us.
Yeah. The cover art of it is very reminiscent of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons rulebook art, but
Yes.
redone, and it's great.
It's a well laid out book. We have store copies for you to peruse if you feel the need.
Well, also, I'm just going to say this, and Dog Dad mentioned this in the chat. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want my male character to have a romantic relationship with my guy friend's female character. That would be weird. For them, that would be weird. But also, there are people.
Go.
I'll just go. It's Pride Month, so F it. I'll just be out about it. I'm demisexual.
Right.
I don't, unless your name is Taylor, I'm not interested. I don't have any sort of feelings of those nature towards anyone unless I develop a very real connection with them.
Yes.
So the idea of sitting there at a table and role playing out a sexual encounter, aside from just doing it for laughter, is like, for me, is like, But we also get into like, you know, every player needing to have their specific brand of fun at a specific amount of time, but that's just uncomfortable for me, and I wouldn't be interested at all in that type of thing.
Yeah. Now I saw a lot of the discourse after this article, and I was going through a lot of the replies and quote tweets on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. And the number one thing I thought words are hard.
Saw.
The number one thing I saw was a lot of people being like, this would make me super uncomfortable. And then the flip to that, the replies to that was always like, well, if we weren't just such prudish, And I was like, look, here's the thing. I have met people and I know people who enjoy that type of role playing. Deeply, right? Enjoy that type of role playing. Anybody, and the majority of them, now, there are always outliers.
Yeah, of course.
Right? There are outliers. So I'm not gonna talk about the outliers, because the outliers are the people who come in there to be creepy and weird and da da da.
Yeah.
But the majority of people who try to play those types of games, who are really into them, they so deeply curate who they're playing with,
Yeah.
the genre, and most importantly, the boundary lines.
Yes.
This is not like a D&D session where you can just wander in and be like, okay, we have a general idea of what we want to do and where everybody's comfortable. This is an area where if you're going to do this type of role-playing,
yeah,
it's prep. This is not a daily play kind of game. This is not one where you're going to set up a weekly game night for a campaign playing that stuff.
And that's what TikTok chat said. I think a group can kind of just do whatever they agree upon. So if you agree to serve those narratives, then send it. And it's not like, and here's the thing about that article, are they upset that there's not a specific chart on roll for schlong size?
No, it really seems like they want...
The basic math is there. You can do anything.
It really seems like they're like, why doesn't one of the major publishers publish one that's a sex and romance? So first off, Wizards is not going to publish anything besides Dungeons and Dragons.
No.
They used to do that, right?
Yeah.
They used to. Wizards of the Coast published a Star Wars role-playing game. They had D20 Modern. They had frickin' Cthulhu-esque stuff. They had the Spy one. They used to release a crap ton of games, different genre games, okay? What they determined after the 3.0, 3.5 era was, this is not our strong suit. They tried to turn D20 into every genre, and it didn't work, right? And so what Wizards did is they went back to what they're good at. We do Dungeons and Dragons. That's it. So it's there. Sorry. TikTok channel advanced rules. So, by the way, this is what happens. Hang on. If y'all want to know what happens, there was and this is one of the reasons the OGL thingy got all big and thing. You can Google this, and you can actually find this game now on in PDF. So somebody in the 3.5 era under the OGL released the Book of Erotic Fantasy.
That sounds exactly like something that would be published in that time period, yes.
And it's under the 3.5 system. It was published under the OGL, and Wizards lost their ever-loving minds.
What's the O and OGL stand for?
Open.
There you go.
Oh, no, they still got mad.
Wow.
Right. Here's the thing. The big guys are not going to publish it. The people who want to play those games, there does exist games for those people. Right? It happens. Again, you should be able to tabletop roleplay anything you want, but this also kind of goes back to our YouTube video, and y'all should go look at this, where people were asking us about, we saw a bunch of discourse about critique in the tabletop RPG industry.
Yeah.
And that new tabletop news thingy, they actually made their Kickstarter funding, surprisingly. They made it.
Good for them.
Good for them. The reason, this is the problem. This is the issue. Go back and watch that video. And this is Dicebreakers again. They're writing articles in search of a problem. Hang on, he's going to have to look at that one. Oh, okay. You knew somebody who did art for that book. Okay, that's neat.
Nice.
All this to say, if you want to do that type of role playing, it's possible. You can do it. It's out there.
Yeah.
Pasión de las Pasiones, right? But if you're gonna do that type of role playing, make sure, again, you curate your group.
Yes.
Consent is fucking critical. Safety tools are critical, and make sure you understand boundaries.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we said, not yucking anybody's yums, but you should absolutely make sure that your group's okay with it. You all have an understanding of your ground rules, and if you think that something like that is going to happen in a session, let everybody know so that people like myself could be like, oh, I'll stay home for this one, or whatever. But and I still come back to, it's not like TTRPGs and D&D specifically doesn't have the math laid out to where you can do anything.
I mean, I've been in D&D campaigns where
everybody wants to F whatever.
Where people
NPC.
flirted and did stuff. And I mean, the longest campaign I ran for D&D 3.035, in fact, we transitioned from 3.035 during the campaign. Multiple player characters in that group because the campaign spanned a number of years in game time. Multiple characters got married, had children. Yeah. Like, stuff like that happens. You use lines and veils. You use other stuff to put it together. So you can do it. So, again, it's not there to yuck everybody's yum. And like I said, if you want to do it, go have fun, right? But Dicebreaker, stop publishing articles like this, because it's just, it's not real.
I mean, it kind of sounds like somebody may use the AI generator for ideas, or they've just been like, I gotta write something, like I got a deadline for something.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and I should point out that I'm not a prude. I'm just very private.
And there's a difference between being a prude and being private. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being private. All right, so that's the end of that topic. If you have any topics you want us to chat about, go ahead and drop them into the chat right now. We're going to be with you all for about another 15-ish minutes. I feel like most of the bigger mainstream ones won't release this because they're trying to... Exactly. You're going to spend $20,000 developing this book, and you're going to sell like 500 copies.
Yeah, and I'll follow. That's kind of what I was saying. Like, the math already exists, basic to do anything. Just use a little bit of imagination to come up. Yeah. Like, I can think of right now, if I was DMing, how I would have people roll stuff.
Tweak it.
Yeah.
We've done this in Identico, right? We have a whole big charisma thingy in Identico and multiple things there, right? Seduction's a rule, right? And we've had it happen in game. Yeah. Like, heck, there were times during Angel City Stories where it got... And then go watch some of the Chaos Inc. episodes, okay? Those people are hoarding on Maine.
They really are.
Okay? I promise you, it's there. You can do it. There's appropriate ways to do it. And again, and actually Pete, and I know Taylor saw a lot of the back-end discussions. When I started Chaos Inc., I went through long periods of, you all need to very clearly define boundaries.
Yes.
Make sure you define your boundaries to me so I understand where they are, right? Yeah. Where do we need to go fade to black? Where do we need to go lines and veils? Things like that. When we changed out cast members between season 1 and season 2, I went through the exercise again, not just because I needed to know from my new cast member, but I explained to the rest of that cast, I'm doing this again, first off, as a reminder to me, for all of you who've still been playing with me for a year. Yeah. But on top of that, I want the reminder, but I want us to go through that as a group. That way, our new cast member is not feeling called out. Yeah. Right? Yeah. They're doing it all together. Okay. What's up, Phil?
I'm going to buy the boxes from...
Excuse me.
Fun. So, there you go. If you're in the chat, we're getting some Leviathan boxes. How many Leviathan boxes are we getting, Phil? 6?
I'm getting 5 from Nomad and 3 from GW.
Okay, so we will have a total of 7, actually, because one of those from GW is the prize for the 40K League. So that's going to happen. Woo. All right, everybody. All right, so chat topics. We only have one so far, so keep dropping them in there. We've got about 15 minutes.
Thank you.
All Father. Are we Team Xbox or Team PlayStation? I think I already know Pete's answer. Now, are we limiting this to just the consoles?
Yeah. Are you talking about just the console, or are you talking about all features?
PC Master Race.
Too close. That got a little weird.
Perfect example of boundaries.
You didn't have to get that close.
Do you want to restart that question?
Let's restart the question. Somebody up in the YouTube chat saying Xbox. So if we're talking about, let's presume for a moment, Allfather, that you're just talking about consoles. Team Xbox or Team PlayStation? Again, I think I know what your answer to this is there, Gator Pete, but...
if we're talking just the console...
Just the consoles.
Xbox. You know why?
Game Pass.
Well, there's Game Pass, but
okay.
If we're just talking about the console and its functionality, Xbox.
Okay.
Because the PlayStation Store sucks. It sucks. Download times on the PlayStation suck. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
I do love the PlayStation hardware wise, controller wise, and everything, but the PlayStation Store sucks, dude.
Oh yeah, no, the PlayStation Store is terrible. Here's what I will say.
Oh, I have that. What about you?
Now I'm going to say this in the context of the history of both of these consoles.
Oh, so you're not taking it in like, okay.
I'm not going to take this in a single thing, right? I'm saying if you were to go history of the consoles, PlayStation versus Xbox, I take PlayStation, right?
I will agree with you on that.
Okay. I think that the quality and quantity and style and everything about the games and everything since both of these consoles has existed puts the PlayStation firmly in the lead. I don't think PlayStation is going to tank. I think PlayStation. I definitely think that for the PS6 era, I think that they need to take a serious look at what they're doing.
Yeah,
They've got to make some fundamental changes. I don't know what those are.
So
current generation, I will give the edge to the Series X.
Here's something that, yeah.
Current generation, I will give the edge just barely to the Series X, and mostly to me, that has to do with the number and quality of games on Game Pass right now, and two, the availability and functionality of the console for this current generation.
I'll agree with that. Actually, Taylor's seen it more and more because I've spent so much of my life troubleshooting and being the IT person. When it comes to my personal electronics and really the limited amount of free time I have, I want to sit down. Once I decided to finally stop running around doing stuff, I want to sit down and play a game.
Yes.
And the Xbox Series S, X versus the PlayStation, I can sit down at my Xbox and bam, go. I can even stream the game. The PlayStation, I fire that fucking thing up, and the first thing, if I haven't played it in 2 months, there's an update that you need to download and install. And I'm just like...
And there went my desire to do
and
that.
then I try to launch the game, and it's like, well, there's an update for this game. And I can probably set that to do it in the background. It's not a readily thing that is easy, but Xbox is just like, yeah, we'll take care of it.
Yeah. Do I think people choose consoles based on pure choices? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That's why I bought the original Xbox, was to play Halo 2 with my
The
friends.
Colts Totem was when Pete was doing Cult of the Lamb.
I need to uninstall that.
Yep. Yeah. I absolutely think people choose consoles based on pure choices. I absolutely think that, again, I think for this generation, the Series X right now is in the lead as far as what I think is a better console right now.
It is more...
I don't think it's fair to judge the generation until the generation's over.
I think Microsoft is really... Which is a shame that they're getting their butts beat in the console war. I think
PlayStation's outselling them by a good chunk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't think PlayStation's in trouble. But Microsoft has done a great job. A great job for the casual audience and the people like me who just want to sit down and game. Now, I just had a thought as far as really just getting into a game. Everything else, boom, away. And I want to be completely immersed. I will pick a PlayStation. I cannot tell you how many times the Xbox I'll be playing and suddenly an achievement, boop, boop, and it pops up. I'm like, cool, you're covering up my subtitles and you made a noise.
Oh, you think that word ban's going to stop us? I've got you.
So,
I got you.
the mini computer, but with the PlayStation mini computer, it just pops up in the corner like, trophy. And half the time I don't even see it.
Yes.
But Xbox is straight up like
Boink! Boink!
sound in the middle of a serious thing. I'm like, I'm trying to read. Please move. Okay, I can't.
Yeah. yeah, I said I don't think it's fair to judge a generation until the generation's over, right? I think the issues that PlayStation 5 had at the beginning of this generation, with the scalper issue especially, pissed me off something fierce.
High cost too. High cost as well.
I mean, it's an expensive console. Now, here's the thing: I've played it now a bunch. It performs beautifully. Yeah. It's a really well put together console. I think it's a little. The exterior design's a little wonky, and yes, I agree with all the memes when PS5 first came out of like, where are you putting this in your entertainment center because of the size of the freaking thing?
It looks like a transformer had sex with a gaming router.
Yeah. Everything about the Series X. It's a box.
Yeah.
It's a box.
The S fits.
You just
great.
Done.
It's great. My cat knocked it over and it went poop, and I said, "Hey," and that was it.
Yep. I absolutely. Again, I think Game Pass compared to PS Plus it's night and day. PS Plus is garbage.
It certainly has run its course at this point.
They don't have enough games. They don't have enough good games.
Well, here's another thing too, and I said this since the PS3 because I've noticed this trend. Xbox tries to right out the gate be like games. They've tried it at least. PlayStation, every generation is console, and then it's going to collect dust for a year and a half, and then you start hearing announcements of like, oh, here's games.
Which is why I have not personally purchased a PS5 for myself.
And that is why
today or here in the next few days would be the first time I would consider it, and that's Final Fantasy 16.
I would say now is when I would normally start buying a PlayStation.
Yep. Right about now in the console generation is when I actually want a PlayStation.
Buy a PlayStation 2 years after
it releases.
Generation. Yeah, after it
starts. Xbox, now here's the thing. Xbox learned the hard way to go games because of the whole, when the Xbox One came out. Yeah. Right? And they were like, the thingy isn't damage to the console. You have to have the move thingy and and it's a whole entertainment solution. Now here's the funny thing. I think they were right. I think Microsoft was 6 years ahead of everybody. Yeah. I honestly believe that. I think that Microsoft, if you would have waited and done that with this generation and been like, look, Netflix, Disney Plus, all your streaming. I didn't say the word, did I?
I think I said the word.
Oh, I didn't say the word. If they would have gone whole entertainment system now, I think that makes sense. Because I think between streaming services and other stuff, people are starting to want to winnow down the number of boxes in their entertainment system. Yeah. Right?
Well, also, let's think about it. They've said it, that red chat. So they released that thing with the Xbox One and having the Kinect, it has to be on it with microphones and cameras.
Spoiler alert, a year later, they were like, never mind.
They were out about it, but let's think about it. A few years later, TVs started adding in microphones quietly. It was just an added on thing, like boop, a bullet point. And people were like, yeah, I mean, okay. There was a little bit of stink raised, like, your TV's listening to you. But they didn't make a big deal out of it. And it's fairly standard now. And people are like, yeah, okay. So if they did that with this current one and just boop, added it on there, nobody would think anything about it.
So two things that I want to address in the chat. Microsoft's doing the smart thing. We've talked about this on the show many times. I have long been trumpeting the thing. Pete's heard me say it 100 times. Microsoft does not care how many Xboxes they sell. To them, it's all about the games right now because everything, and that's the thing that's killing, I think, their sales is there's no Xbox exclusives because they're all on PC.
Well, there's no one app or thing that you have to buy on the Xbox that makes it worth it. Like, you can buy, like, what is it, Dolby Atmos? I bought that years ago, but it's not a necessary thing.
I will never forgive consoles for requiring a subscription to play games on the internet you already pay for. Absolutely. It's something that has always irritated me about console online play because I started playing online back in the PC days. Yep. And even now you don't have to pay a fee. Yeah. Like, I can go on Steam and play multiplayer with you in any game that we both own without paying an additional fee. I think that the reason that is still the case is I think PC players would riot. If Blizzard tried to implement a, like, $4.99 a month freaking, like, multiplayer fee, people would write it.
I mean, they do for WoW.
But I'm saying for like Overwatch, StarCraft, Diablo. There's no additional fee to play online. So
boy, that's if you're going to charge for the game itself and then charge an online fee,
which is what happens on console.
Yeah. If it's straight up just like, here's the games. Okay, so this is partially why I find Game Pass acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
It has saved me hundreds, if not over $1,000 on games that are on my massive Steam wish list that I've been on the fence about. And on Game Pass, I pay a fee. I can play online.
You got me on Game Pass. I'm already there.
And I'll play it and be like, that game was dog turds. I'm glad I didn't spend $15 on it outright. Now, it comes with the Xbox Live Gold or what. Do they even require a fee now to play online for Xbox if you don't have Game Pass?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah, so does PlayStation.
Ugh.
Both of them do. Final Fantasy 14 is an exception. Yeah. Okay.
Ugh.
What Lord of the Rings Commander Precon should I run Friday at Friday Night Magic? I want to watch somebody run that Rohan one.
There's your answer.
I really want to see somebody run the Rohan one because I'm thinking about buying the Rohan one, and I really think that I looked at the commander and I looked at what it was. It looks like I want to see that playing.
There you go, Necrotier.
So there you go. That's what Commander Precon you should run Friday.
We should.
Remember, we have Commander Ladder every Friday. Tonight is draft night.
Tonight is draft night.
So y'all can come in and draft.
I think we should revisit this Xbox versus PlayStation, but like
another time.
We should probably like each make our little bullet point lists because it's such a broad thing that it's hard to.
It is.
I feel it's trying to just fit 10 minutes, and we're like, ah.
Here's the thing: the topic, because it's Team Xbox, Team PlayStation. Like immediately we started asking other questions like this generation or overall, right? Like it's hard. Like it's not a simple question. It's such a broad question that it requires questions to even answer. Anyway, if you missed any of this live stream, it will be live later today over on youtube.com/Gamers Heaven PNW. Do you beginner decks for people who want to start Magic? We do have beginner decks for people who want to start Magic. We have multiple commander decks that we can loan out. Then there's the only reasonably priced product in the Lord of the Rings set, which is the new starter kit, which has two stuff. Oh, for those that don't know, we have collector boosters back in stock and other boosters back in stock. We got our first restock on Magic today.
Yes.
So it's right there. So y'all come hang out with us. Commander Ladder on Friday. Draft tonight. I think we got Smash Ultimate on Friday as well. We have Mario Kart on Saturday. So get ready. We're going to be doing a bunch.
We do have collector's packs. They arrived today. I synced them with my own eyes. The box is open, and I said, hey, yeah.
Yes. So you'll be seeing more about that later today. Anyway, we're going to let you guys go. Have a great day. We will be back with the next Super Show on Monday.
Monday, baby.
On Monday. And so we will see you next Monday. Again, if you missed anything, go over to youtube.com/@Gamers7PNW and subscribe to our YouTube channel there. And you can go back and rewatch all the stuff. Plus stuff that is exclusive to YouTube, like Phil's 5-minute lore videos on Warhammer 40K.
He did so good.
Right? There is currently a 5-minute video on the Leagues of Votan, on the lore of the Leagues of Votan. And I think, Pete, you have 2 more in the can ready to, just to edit and get ready to get it out.
Just edit.
Just edit.
Just edit.
Just add individuals, but there's 2 more that have been filmed. So we're going to be releasing those. We're going to trickle those out. Pete will be trickling out YouTube stuff. The beautiful thing is the way that Pete's going to do the YouTube exclusive stuff will just run all the way through the weekend. We have a release pretty much every day.
Pretty much every day, yeah.
Okay, so I promise. We're going through it. All right, we love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Time for the ending song.
The ending song It's ending song. All right.
It's the
The ending song tonight. Draft is tonight. Yu-Gi-Oh will be here. All right too.
Businessy business things. So I'm told.
Businessy business things. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Woo.
Bye. I love you guys. Thank you.